And happy Independence Day, everybody. It's July 3rd. It is the day that we celebrate 4th of July for the work week. And so if you're probably watching today, or listening today, you are probably watching or listening on a day off, and that's a great thing to have. And so congratulations on your day off today. Hopefully you're having a good day wherever you are. It's a Friday too. You know, it's like it all rolls into one. So it's like we have a holiday and we have a Friday. It's all rolled into one, so we get to have the day off and enjoy a long weekend. Hopefully, you're going to have a good, safe weekend this weekend. I'm joined now by Jody, who is running the tech booth over there, and hopefully you guys... I can hear you. And so we got a great show planned for you today. I got Tim Redmond, who is the CEO of Redmond Growth Consulting, and he's going to be with us here in just a little bit. But Jody...
Yes.
What's going on today?
Well, just a heads up for those of you, it is the afternoon, but if you don't already know, today is National Stay Out of the Sun Day.
Wow.
Which I think is goofy because
it's July.
It's July and people are swimming but I would say make sure you just throw on the sunscreen
Extra
and everything.
sunscreen.
But what they're expressing to do, this is so funny because I'm like, we've been doing this for 4 months, is cozy up on the couch and watch some kind of a Netflix show all day long. Pretty sure
this might be the day to watch
that.
Tiger King for all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't watch that. That's the craziest show
crazy
in the world. So
I have yet to actually see every episode.
It's so
I'm
weird
scared.
and so bizarre. You know, we lived in Oklahoma for a number of years, and it is just... we were not from that side of Oklahoma. I'll just say that. And golly, what a crazy show that was. All right, so here's a couple of pointers if you're going to be cooking out this weekend, and chances are really good that you are. If you're going to be doing that, make sure, first of all, that you're not part of the meat recall. There's lots of stores that have been doing meat recall, hamburger especially, ground beef. So make sure that you're not grilling recalled food. And you say, how do I know that? You can call the store and give them, the UPC off of your food there, and then they can tell you whether that's been recalled or not. So you don't want to do that because, listen, the last thing you need in the middle of COVID, in the middle of a holiday, in the middle of time just to relax, is to have salmonella poisoning. That would be awful. So so there's all kinds of chicken. There's chicken nuggets that have been recalled, bagged salad that's been recalled, ground beef. So just be careful there, all right? And then I think they said there was, 43,000 pounds of ground beef that got recalled. So so just be careful. And then whatever you do cook, make sure that you do cook it hot.
Yes.
Don't just, it's a chance that you take 2020 if you're going to just blue your meat or just barely get it cooked. Whoa. I would be real careful with that.
Yeah. I was going to say your buddy Keith Neighbor would be a great person to, he's a big grill guy.
I'm sure he's using the Traeger, which
and he probably
smokes
has a
everything
thermometer.
You want to cook the inside. When the inside reaches, I think, 200 degrees, I think that's when you're safe. So so there's a couple of grilling tips for you today. A couple of things that it may be a healthy alternative. Well, I don't know about how healthy it would be, but an alternative for those of you who say, well, I don't know about cooking or whatever. We saw an article that Papa John's is bringing back with Shaquille O'Neal. They're partnering together to bring back the Shaq-a-Roni pizza, which is this humongous. It's like one of their biggest pizzas ever, with more pepperoni on it than any of the ones that they have. And so that is something to consider.
Mm-hmm. It is. And let me add to the E. coli discussion.
Yes.
Just make sure, I would say, people that, we're grilling out, but we've got salads, and we've got, other different things. And we got to remember that all of the food staying out in the sun and the heat can cause bacteria to form. Now, I'm not somebody that is like over paranoid about that kind of stuff, but I really don't want to, catch that. So not just the meat, but like the sides and stuff. Just
This is
anything with mayonnaise, especially.
This is starting to turn into almost like a paranoid
I love-
broadcaster, because I'm
I know,
looking
I know,
here
I'm
at the
sorry.
information. No, at the information here, I'm seeing that bottled water that was sold at Whole Foods is being recalled back because it has arsenic in it. So it's like 2020 just will not give us a rest. My
Well,
goodness, there's lots
no.
of stuff. Anyway, be careful this weekend. Use your common sense and go out and have a good time.
Yes.
And so that's that. What are your big plans this weekend? That's the question of the day. What are your big plans for tonight, tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to let off fireworks? And brings up a whole nother thing.
Yes.
Be careful with the fireworks. Use safety. I know that we always do a big fireworks production here in Kentucky. My parents live on a hill. My grandparents' house is right next door, and really the whole family's here this week in Kentucky. And there's a whole bunch of them staying at the house at my grandparents' house. It's up on a hill that overlooks the city, and we kind of put on our own fireworks show, and the whole city can see it from
Lots
down
of
there.
fun. Yeah.
And so we always try and put the fireworks over to the side, away from the crowd, and just a very select few people letting them off, so that you don't have accidents and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Even though the kids are begging to let off the big one.
yeah. They're like, Dad, can we please come let the fireworks off? And I'm like, no, you cannot. No, it's absolute no. So be careful, please, out this weekend letting off fireworks. What are your plans? Let us know in the comments below. Drop down and tell us what your big plans are for the 4th of July this weekend. All right. Now, I'm going to transition into something else here. And as many of you know, I announced a few shows ago that I had written a new book, and I wanted to just give it a chance one more time to promote the new book. If you haven't picked it up yet, you can go on Amazon. I think we're throwing it up on the screen right now. You can go to Amazon and pick up the new book called "What Smells So Good: Living with Favor in a World That Stinks." There's a cologne bottle on the front, and I got a really cool story in there about some folks that I went to high school with. And then I also tell a couple of stories. One of them has to do with a young man that was in our youth group. Favor is something that is it's just really, when you experience it, you're just so grateful to have it in your life. And I used the cologne bottle because I'm trying to say that God's favor on your life is like God's cologne on your life. So run out and pick up a copy of that. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. Or if you're more of an Apple person, you can get it on iBooks as well. And it's real easy. It's just right at 100 pages, maybe just a few pages less. It's an easy read, but it was something that the Lord had spoken into my life, and something that we've experienced quite heavily since we started the church. And so if you want to pick up a copy of that book, man, you'd really be appreciated for that. It's only $10. I think it's $7. Let me see if I can throw that back up there. I think it's $7.99 on Kindle. Is that what it says there? Yeah, $7.99 for Kindle. So that means $7.99 on iBooks as well. So go out, pick up a copy of What Smells So Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great read. Sorry,
it's not just about cake or cologne or whatever is going on in your house. It smells good.
It isn't. I read it a few times.
It smells more than a few. We both read it a bunch of times, and so as we were proofing it and getting it ready and that kind of thing. So run out, grab a copy of that, and it'll be a blessing to you, I promise. All right. Okay, we're going to roll into a new section of the show today. Well, it's a section with our guest today. We pre-recorded it because of the holiday weekend, so enjoy our interview with Tim Redmond today. and their businesses. He loves to help business owners significantly grow their profits and productivity, and increase the productivity of their employees while increasing balance and enjoyment in the owner's life. He started a company a few years ago, was able to sell that off for some good time profit, and now he's out sharing that knowledge with the rest of the world. I want you to welcome to the Cabin Fever podcast today, Tim Redmond, everybody. Tim, hey, great to have you on the show today, man.
Much for it really, when you describe with Jody and Sandy, it sounded like we live in the back hills of Appalachia. It's just one of those kind of families here, but that's where you came from though, right?
Well, actually, that's where we are right now. I call it Northern Command. For the 4th of July, we're at my family's house in Kentucky, so maybe that just subconsciously slipped in there. So
there you go. Yeah, we're all related somehow, so that's good.
So, first of all, before we get into everything, how's everything in Oklahoma and everything post-COVID, or I guess COVID is still going on. How's everything with you guys?
We're playing some dodgeball with that little virus molecule floating around here, and good to wash our hands. I'm not masking up probably as much as I should. But so far so good, and go ahead.
Did it affect any of your consulting, or were you guys doing most of that online?
Well, we were actually pretty fortunate. Most of our clients, we've got about 121 clients today, but most of our clients, Brent, are essential businesses. So I go with a lot of docs. I go with people in healthcare, and I also handle people in contracting. They're builders or electricians, plumbers, that kind of stuff. I mean, I do churches and pastors too. They were not as essential, which is interesting to me. But lost a few of them, but the market is responding beautifully to our marketing now, and we're onboarding just a huge, more than we've ever done before. It's blasting off.
It's so awesome. Now, this venture that you're doing right now is called Redmond Consulting, Redmond Growth Consulting, and your son Robert has kind of become your right arm there. Before we get into everything, you got to be proud of him too.
Oh yeah. It's He was actually making really good money. He was like 25 years old. He's making close to $100,000, if not more. He says, "Dad, I want to learn your business." I go, prepare to be poor for a while, because I'm not going to match that. But I think in a couple of years we'll get there. And so we've way more past that. He's doing phenomenally. He goes, "Dad, how do you know I'm going to learn this? Because I don't have any business background." Well, I'm going to train you. I'm going to give you equivalent to like an MBA, but real practical. But you've got a tremendous ability to learn, and you can be confident in ambivalent situations. And so that's what we need to do in consulting. And he's having huge results. Most of his clients are double his age, But he is killing it in terms of results he's getting. So.
That's so awesome. I know I ran into him at one of the events, and he was just so focused on what he was doing, and it was so great to hear. And man, I'm proud of him as well. And then of course your other kids, Matt and Josh, you got to be really proud of those guys, because they're doing their own thing too. And now Andrea is kind of starting to come into her own too.
The dental admissions test, and she is absorbed in it. She knows more. She got more in her brain than I ever did. And Matthew's got this investment firm. He's buying into it. He owns a good portion of it, but I've now shoved a bunch of my money over to him, and so
that's awesome.
Go make it grow. And Josh just graduated from college, and he's working at the largest CPA firm in Oklahoma, doing some audit work, and
incredible
great job first out of college. So everybody's doing really well.
That's so awesome. Now, Tim, you've ministered all over the world. You've grown businesses. You grew your own business and sold it off. You've done everything else in between. Tell us a lot more about Redmond Growth Consulting, and what are you doing it? Where are you doing it? And why are you doing it?
Yeah, well, I believe that business is one of the most vivid demonstrations of God's creative compassion. It's where miracles happen. It's where he shows up. It's where the habitation of God abides. And it does in church on Sunday morning sometimes too. Okay, don't get me wrong. But I've preached in front of a group of 20,000 people in Brasilia, Brazil. And I feel the smile of God on me as much doing business consulting. So we'll take companies that are having a rough time. Most companies fail, or it's like they have an okay or a poor paying job, but they're mostly in struggle. And so we actually, through proven systems that I've developed in growing the software company, I've coached over 1,000 businesses over the last 10 years alone, getting huge results. We've learned lessons, and so we bring them through proven systems step by step. We coach them, we implement stuff. I got a team of about 25 people that I pay to get stuff done, and then we actually turn bad businesses around where they're massively successful. We take good businesses, we help them make them great, and it's just been a blast. We're growing very fast. I anticipate by the end of the year we'll probably be close to 200 clients that we're coaching. I've got a whole team of coaches that I train in my systems, and it's really, really going well. So anybody that wants to grow an organization, whether it's a business, a nonprofit, a church, even with government entities we've worked with to help improve their processes. So
that's awesome. Now, right now, the world is upside down. The world is just on fire in some places, literally. And there's just a lot of things that have brought so much troubling times to people's lives. They don't know, maybe where everything's going to come from tomorrow. But so what, in your opinion, is some of the most important things that a business owner or a key employee, somebody like that, should be doing in a time like this?
Okay, really good question. I've got my short answer is about an hour and a half. And
take your time.
Take your time. You'll be off my show, and this will be the last time you're on my show. So, you've heard the phrase, Brent, that insanity is doing the same things you've always done, but expect different results. You've heard that?
Sure.
I believe just the opposite of that is also true. Once you get the right things to do, insanity is doing different things and expect different results. So we want to get business owners back to the basics. As one guy said, have something good to sell. Make sure your product or service is good. You deliver it well. Sell it well. Talk about it well. Constantly go after the marketing. We have a lot of our clients that sat down and go, the COVID's going to take us over. And they're they mentally and emotionally sat down. And I'm saying, just get after it. And we had them do a couple things in April. One company did this and literally turned from their worst month. Literally, April was their record-breaking year with sales and profits. And it was a plumbing company in Denver, and they went over $200,000 in sales in 1 month. Their profits went through the roof. Just following this. So, number one, what are the basics in your business? Make sure you're doing those: marketing, sales follow-up, diligence. The lack of follow-up and the lack of follow-through is where most of your money is. You're losing most of your money in your business. And get excited about your product or service. When other people are slacking off, they're working from their home. I like to say this 3 words: casualness causes casualties, Brent.
So good.
Casualness causes casualties. And so don't be casual in what you do. Now, you don't have to be uptight, but just do it as if you're serving Jesus. Do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men. And show up every day as if this is going to be a very important day. You're going to produce big results. And if you don't have that, you've lost the battle. The second thing is how you look at something is what it becomes. So if it's impossible, there's nobody going to respond, everybody's saying no, everybody's afraid. My business, Brent, is flourishing based on a 99% rejection rate.
Wow.
It's like I feed off of no. It's like, this guy is really strange. I know successful people sound strange. And so don't be afraid of the rejection. Don't God told Jeremiah, don't be afraid of their faces, and the faces may be your customers or maybe even your employees. Just get after it. Just make this a time that you make double the calls. That you really get aggressive at growing your business right now.
Wow. That's so good. Our guest today is Tim Redmond. He is the president and founder of Redmond Growth Consulting. He is a national speaker, an author. He is part of John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. He's a consultant. He's an investor. I could keep just naming accolades, but the most important one is he's my brother-in-law, and we're really excited to have you on the show today. Tim, tell us about your book and your video curriculum, The Power to Create. Who did you write that for and why?
Okay, well, I wrote this book. I just happen to have a copy. Isn't that interesting?
Isn't it?
Brett and I were talking about I need to have a bookshelf behind me, just upstairs in my little recording room. But this Power to Create, I wrote it for pastors and business owners, and it's a biblical treatise against the prosperity gospel gone awry. Now, I'm not against the prosperity gospel, so don't shut us off here. There's a prosperity gospel that's very self-centered and not other-centered.
So good. Come on.
How can I get more stuff for myself rather than, you measure your wealth by how much you give away. That's how you really measure wealth. And so I got like about 200 endnotes here, and about 150 of those are verses from the Bible that have just interwove them in there. And I'm explaining about the role of money and how to overcome these negative feelings you got about money and work and your purpose and I didn't talk about being against the prosperity gospel. I just talked about what does God have to say? When God gave us the power to create wealth, what did he give us? How does it look like? How do you use this gift? How do you activate this? And does it depend on economic prosperity and having that? Does it depend on you having enough money? No, none of that. You can begin to create now. And so it goes through, I've got a whole curriculum here, and I'll give a super discount on anybody that wants to get this here. Also, Brent, too, I would love to be able to, anybody who wants to get this, what I'm seeing a lot with business owners is a lack of confidence. And so anybody that emails me or gets a hold of me, I will send them a free download of a series I did called Building Unshakable Confidence. It's normally $58. You can buy it on my site, but I want to give you a code that you can get it free if you identify yourself as Brent Bailey's best friend.
All right, there it is. So if you go right there's his website on the screen right now at redmondgrowth.com. If you go there and mention the show, the Cabin Fever podcast, you can actually get a free download from Tim. And I can personally testify to what Tim and Sandy are really speaking into leaders all across the country because I've seen it. They are regular speakers at the Increase events, and now they're also doing their own events where people are coming from all over the world to sit under their tutelage and their the ministry that God's given them. Now, real quick, Tim, tell us a little bit about the company that you started. It was a software company, and then you ended up selling that to like Quicken or QuickBooks or somebody like that, or something like that. Or am I? I think
we built it up. There's a couple of us, the founder and myself. We're both CPAs. You know what CPA stands for, right? Constant pain in the abdomen. Okay. We're both CPAs, and so we grew this company up to about 450 people. We got it to about $40 million a year in sales, and we sold it to Intuit. They bought us, and I came on board with them, helped them out a little bit. And then after we had that transaction completed, I had about 22,000 clients, so we helped them transition over to Intuit. Then I started a nonprofit, Redmond Leadership Institute, and then did 10 years traveling around the world, helping pastors train their business leaders to succeed. Still love to do that here. Don't do that as much, but now I'm doing the Redmond Growth Consulting, and it's just exploding in growth here. So
awesome. So what Tim is speaking about in during these things is all stuff that he learned in the real world, doing the job himself and actually building a company from the ground up. So you're not getting just some theory in a classroom. This is proven life stuff here. So if you'd like to bring Tim in to your church to minister to your business leaders, pastors, you couldn't do much better than this guy right here. It's right there on the screen again. It's redmondgrowth.com. Or if you want to reach out to him on social media, he's Tim Redmond on Facebook and Twitter, Tim_Redmond on Instagram, and also on YouTube. Got his own channel. It's the Business Coach Tim Redmond. And man, you could not do much better than the information you're going to reach there.
Even if you don't want to fly me out and all that, I love to do things like this. I've done a lot of service. Just did a seminar for a bunch of business leaders just north of London, England, and did a 3-hour, and we just were involved in it, Zoom or whatever technology they use. Just love doing that. So I don't have to, you don't have to like look at me and entertain me in any way. I'm so easy with that. Just let's set it up and let's do it online if we need to do it. No problem.
That's awesome. Tim, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I pray that you have a great 4th of July. You and the family, give them our love, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. That's Tim Redmond of the Redmond Growth Consulting out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you will not do much better than that guy right there. We love having you on the show today. Thanks for coming by and being with us on the program. Monday, we've got another great show planned for you. We're going to have Pastor Obed Martinez from Southern California. His church is ministering to thousands of folks through food ministry. You'll want to tune in and be with us for that right there. We love you guys. Have a great 4th of July. Be careful. Use wisdom. Step outside and break the cabin fever. Have a great day, everybody.